Okay, next question from the right side.
I'll just take the microphone, I guess. Good evening. First off, I wanted to thank you a lot for this opportunity to speak to you tonight. You mentioned Jordan Peterson earlier, and he's been gaining a lot of popularity. He talks a lot about values, like intrinsic, archetypical values, and they conveniently happen to be Christian values. So my question would be if atheism or secular societies have failed to deliver a compelling narrative for people that they can grasp on. Thank you.
Yes, okay. So, yeah, I know Jordan, and I think what the appeal is, you can go on skeptic.com and read my explanation for the phenomenon. I think the appeal is more of self-help. People feel like, not that they don't have the right Christian values, they go to him for the same reason they go to, say, Tony Robbins, who's a huge, literally huge, he's like 6'4", but he's very popular. And there's a Netflix film called I'm Not Your Guru, in which it shows Tony Robbins is very much everybody's guru. And it has nothing to do with Christian values. He's just talking about, like Jordan, stand up straight, make your room, work out every day, eat white, and because the world is a dangerous, harsh place, and people aren't nice, and so you got to be strong, something like that. I think that's the appeal. Where, in my opinion, and that of others that have studied him, he gets a little murky on the, did the resurrection happen? Well, what do you mean by the resurrection? Do you mean suffering for your sins, or like you ask him, do you believe? If you ask me, do you believe in God? The answer is no. If you ask Jordan, do you believe in God? It would take me 40 hours to answer that question. All right, if it takes you 40 hours to answer, then you're talking about something completely different. And there he gets into Jung and Freud and Nietzsche and Dostoevsky and all that stuff. And again, it's okay to say novelists have tapped into deep truths about human nature. That's true. I mean, the reason Shakespeare and Jane Austen and so on are popular novelists is because they're saying something deep that we all kind of get. Like that's true. These power struggles and sexual infidelities and all this stuff. Yeah, they've tapped into that before cognitive scientists started studying it. But to then, and here's where he gets fuzzy. Then he makes the transition from that to like a scientific truth. It's like, no, wait. It's okay to say it's metaphorically true, or the novelist making up this story or tapping into something that's true, but the story's not true. and there he gets a little murky that makes people nervous, like me.
So we heard Michael talk about Jordan Peterson. I wanted to ask Richard if you have an opinion on him as well, and if you plan on debating him in the future.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that at all.
Jordan Peterson, is that what you said?
Yes, exactly. I wanted to
He wants to know your opinion on Jordan
Richard's
Peterson.
opinion.
Oh,
and
God.
if you plan on debating him in the future.
Or not, God.
I'm just aware that every time I look at the internet, Jordan Peterson. No, I don't have an opinion.
No.
Why should I have an opinion?
Okay, nächste Frage von links.
I gather he objects to being forced by Canadian law to use pronouns that people want him to use, and on that I'm thoroughly in his favor. Good for him.
Yeah, my question was Jordan Peterson related, so I guess I just find it weird that you don't have an opinion on him, because your teachings or what you usually say would be contrary.
I never offer an opinion on something of which I'm ignorant.
Yes. Hear, hear.
So, first of all, thank you both for the great discussion tonight. Looks like 3 people already asked my question, so I'm going to ask it from a different angle. So, Professor Dawkins,
Please
you
not
said
Jordan
that
Peterson.
you,
Please not
yes,
Jordan Peterson.
unfortunately, I'm very sorry about that. So, you said you have no opinion about him. It looks like looks like he does an opinion about you. There is a video of him saying that he thinks atheists like Richard Dawkins should be oppressed, for starters. And number 2, Michael, I've read your article. I've read Stephen Benker's article on Skeptic Magazine. I've listened to all the podcasts with Sam Harris, etc. The trouble is that people like Peterson are filling up the void that was created with millennials and Gen Z by not believing in gods. And he is big with Gen Z in his advocacy of the Christian God, of the Bible, his twisted relationship with reality and truth. And in your time, Michael, you have debunked people like Chopra and others, but you didn't quite push back in your discussions with Peterson. My question is why?
Well, because again, it depends which claim is he making that I'm going to push back on. There's parts of Deepak's that I don't push back on. When he says, meditation is good, okay, yeah, it probably is. Not for me, but other people, okay, fine. But then when he gets into the quantum consciousness woo-woo, then I push back. So again, I'm happy to push back. I did in my article on Peterson about his theory of truth, the archetypal theory of truth, which is very close to Ronald Hoffman's interface theory of truth. He's a cognitive psychologist at UC Irvine who has this interface theory of truth that the brain is like, sort of like a laptop screen, and these icons are floating around on there. They don't really exist in the brain. They're just our perceptual icons. So all of what we perceive in nature isn't real. They're just icons because our senses are just converting photons of light into neural impulses, for example. So then you could go, he doesn't quite go so far as say solipsism or something like that, but I push back on that, and Jordan's theory of truth is very similar to that, which I think is incorrect. And I said so, and if you've got 4 or 5 hours to drive, listen to the Sam Harris podcast.
I did, as a matter of fact.
And it's just painful to listen to.
It is.
There was a Star Trek episode where Captain Picard is captured and being tortured, and the torture will stop if he'll say, "There are 5 bright lights here," even though there's 4, and he keeps saying there's 4, and they crank up the pain, and so finally he's rescued, and back at the ship he tells the ship's counselor Troy, I came to believe there were 5. That was my truth, and I almost said it, but there were really just 4. He's just wrong. All right, so anyway, that's my critique of
That's straight from 1984. When Winston...
Oh, yes, right.
Yeah.
Oh, they stole that. That's right.
They stole it, yeah.
There's only 7 plots in Hollywood. They just recycle them all.
All right, so on Jordan Peterson? No.
Oh, no.
I'm joking. All right.
He's joking.
Yeah, I'm joking. So